Hello, everyone. Today I want to talk to you about my 2021 Jeep Wrangler Sahara, this Sarge green Jeep. It's mine. I'm so excited. I want to talk about how long it took to get this thing from order to delivery, why I chose to order it instead of buying one off the lot, and then I also want to kind of talk about why I went with the Wrangler. I ordered this Wrangler on June 12th, 2021. It shipped on July 6th of 2021. So that's a little over 2 weeks. Really, it probably would have been 2 weeks, but there's a holiday, the 4th of July holiday weekend in between there. It's actually quite surprising how quickly it was put together. It was shipped from the factory July 6th. It arrived at my dealer's lot on Thursday, July 15th, and I picked it up July 16th. All the Jeep Wranglers are built in Toledo, Ohio, and I'm near Fort Worth, Texas. My dealer's in Fort Worth, Texas. So, it didn't take too long. I guess I don't really know. They're shipped by rail car. I don't know all the details. All I know is I was quite impressed at how quickly this thing went from order to delivery. I picked it up that Friday, and I actually had a road trip that next week up to Kansas, and so I got about 150 or about 200 or so miles, 250 break-in miles before I then turned around and went straight up to Kansas for a nice long road trip. And now I've got 1,600 miles on the Jeep, and I've only owned it for a little over a week. So why did I order one rather than just buying one off the lot? Well, there was a lot of reasons, and if you've been following me for any period of time, you'll know that I actually had a Kia Sorento before this as kind of my beater car, I guess you could say. I've got a Ram 1500, or I'm sorry, a Ram 2500 Cummins, and it just feels silly driving that thing anywhere that I'm not pulling a camper or pulling a trailer or using a truck. It's so torquey, it's so big. Um, it's really not for a guy like me, I guess. I know some people love driving big trucks just for daily drivers, but I'm not one of those kind of people. My first truck I had, well, my first truck was actually a Chevy Love, a 1980 Chevy Love, a very small truck. And I really like small trucks, but unfortunately, I kept having that need for a bigger and bigger truck because of the stuff that I would tow with it. And I had a Dakota for a while, same thing. That it was a great truck. I loved the truck as far as daily driving, but it couldn't handle. I was going through brakes like crazy on it whenever I would pull trailers with it. So whenever I moved from Kansas down to Texas, I traded the Dakota in for a full size, a Ram 1500, and that thing was a phenomenal truck. I think that is probably the best. A nice half-ton truck is the best all-around truck. If you can only have one truck, a full size half ton. They've got good towing capacity. They use a lot of gas, but all trucks are going to use a lot of gas. They're really reasonable compared to small trucks, I guess. And they're still not too big that you can still navigate parking lots fairly easily. But whenever I got rid of the half ton and went 3/4 ton, it tows the 3/4 ton tows great. But again, I've lost. I really wanted to get back into that small truck type segment, and I'm not really interested in going with a Ranger or something like that. I've always really liked the way Jeeps look, the Jeep Wrangler looks. Um, Ever since I was a little kid, I remember thinking they look so cool, and I remember my mom saying, "You can't have a Jeep; they roll." Yeah, I think that's kind of a myth, but yeah, if I'm rock climbing at a really steep angle, yeah, maybe I'll roll. But I don't think just driving it around on the road reasonably, it suddenly is any more of a roll hazard than a full size truck. But I don't know. That's just my thoughts. I could be wrong. But that's what my mom said. So I couldn't have a Jeep because they roll. They're not good vehicles. But we rented one. There's been twice when we've rented one, me and my wife, and we find ourselves fighting over who gets to drive it whenever we rented it. They're just fun. They're fun vehicles. And so I've been driving a Kia Sorento for a long time. For the last year, I got one. I fixed it up. So anyway, I decided to sell the Kia Sorento. The main reason is it wasn't really what I was going for. Um, it was a nice car. It's a body on frame. It wasn't four-wheel drive. Really kind of long term. I didn't see myself in it long. It was a cool car. I liked it, no complaints. It was actually it improved my perception of Kia. To be honest with you, I thought Kia was crap, and after having that car for a while, I don't think the cars themselves are crap. I think a lot of times it's the maintenance. The typical Kia owner doesn't quite do the maintenance that's required, and so what you end up with is a hurt reputation of a bunch of vehicles that never get their oil changed and their engines get trashed. So I sold the Kia Sorento and I got myself a Jeep Wrangler. Now, when I first started toying with the idea of getting a Jeep Wrangler, it got to where I spent an unhealthy amount of time on the Jeep website. I read every single thing under the Wrangler section on the website. I went through all the different configuration tools and I was checking every little thing, researching every single one of those features and trying to decide if it was worth it or not. After spending a lot of time on the Jeep website, I got to where I could pretty much get on there and build the Jeep that I wanted really quickly. I let some time go by. I would go back on the website, read everything again, try it again, and I kept ending up in the same configuration. So once I kind of had an idea of all the features I wanted and I knew what were deal breakers and what I could live without, I went to the dealership and started looking around and inventories have been so low. I mean, at our dealership they had like two Wranglers and one of them was the 4xe, the electric one. That looks like a really cool Wrangler. Ultimately, I didn't go with that one because it's in its first model year. I want to give it some time to flush out. So I checked the local dealers all around me, and they had a bunch of Jeeps, but none of them were. They always had one deal breaking feature. And the biggest one for this one was the Select Track 4-wheel drive. And that's the one where you can go into 4-wheel drive full time or 4-wheel drive part time. So you've got 4 high, 4 low, and 4 auto. Um, I had my first Ram 1500 that I got had that feature, and I absolutely loved it for heavy rain and light snow, for instance. Um, it's a very nice feature for on-road four-wheel drive type of stuff. And really, it was like a $600 feature, I think, whenever you price your Jeep. None of the local dealers had that option. And so something like a trailer hitch, I could add that later. I know I want one. I know I need one. I can buy one on Amazon and bolt one up there. That's not a problem. But I'm not going to change out the transfer case in one of these things. I mean, I'm sure I could, but that's not for $600. Put it in there from the factory. So I just decided to order one. And now that I've ordered a vehicle, custom ordered a vehicle, I don't know if I'm ever going to go back to settling for something on the lot. I've bought a lot of new cars in my time, and every single time I buy something that's on the lot. This is the first time I didn't do it, and I have no regrets. I got exactly what I wanted. So to show you exactly the one that I bought so you can see all the features that I have, you go to the Jeep website. I'm looking at 2021. I'm going to say buy, and then I'm going to say Sahara. And what I found, it for some reason it changes your configuration sometimes. I found it's best to start at the bottom. So I'm going to start at the bottom. The select track, I got that so that you get full-time and part-time four-wheel drive. That automatically selects the anti-slip rear differential, and it gives you the automatic transmission. Now, this was one of those decisions that was really tough for me. I kept going back and forth on the e-torque versus the 2-liter turbo and the 3-liter diesel. Ultimately, I went with the 2-liter turbo. It's a cheaper engine. That turbo, it's actually really peppy. I've been very impressed with it. And the ultimate reason why I settled on that, our Grand Cherokee has the 3.6 V6. It's a phenomenal engine. The reason I didn't go with it was because this is because it has e-torque. The e-torque is where it uses it's this one. The e-torque system uses a 48 volt lithium ion battery and a generator instead of the alternator. And the generator also handles the stop start on the engine. With as far as that goes, that seems to be a pretty good system. I just can't get my mind around this day and age where we have cell phones where the batteries start getting very weak after 1 year, and then after 2 years they're almost unusable. I don't think I want that in my car yet. I still like the lead batteries that cost $100 that can be changed out easily without requiring the dealer. I have a feeling those lithium batteries, if they don't have long lifespans, they're going to be expensive and they're going to require some dealership intervention as far as programming to change. That's just my gut feeling. It also helps that the four-cylinder turbo is $1,000 cheaper. Scrolling up, I went with the LED lighting group. From what I've heard, the factory lights are pretty bad, and or the halogens are pretty dingy. And I don't know. I don't like trying to retrofit LEDs because they vary so much in quality. And sometimes you get a lens that's not designed for an LED and you stick an LED in it and it's terrible. So I just went with the factory LED lighting group. I went with a cold weather group that gives me heated front seats and a heated steering wheel. Why would I do that? I'm in Texas. Well, I have this thing that once you've had this feature on a car, you don't want to get rid of that feature. And unfortunately, I've had heated seats and heated steering wheel the last number of vehicles I've had. My fingers absolutely love that heated steering wheel, even when it's only 40 degrees outside. So I went with that. That was important to me. I went with the trailer tow and heavy electrical group. I know you can get a trailer hitch for under $100 and bolt it on there. But I hate 4-pin wiring harnesses that are aftermarket because they don't last. They don't seem to hold up. You drive down the road for a couple of months and it just falls apart. These, when I get a vehicle with the ones from the factory, they're solid. They've got those little plastic enclosures. They last a lot longer. That's worth it to me. The 7-pin harness, in order to get that from Chrysler, it's not cheap, and I think you even have to make some programming changes on the vehicle to do it. The 240 amp alternator, not like I really need that, but it's nice to know that it's a little bit more powerful to handle the trailer towing. And the other nice thing is it comes with these auxiliary switches. These are cool. If you haven't seen these yet, go look them up. Basically, you get four different plugs that are programmable, or four different switches that are programmable. You can wire them up to whatever you want. I think they're like 40 amps for these two and 20 amps for these two. I can't remember exactly, but the wiring is available under the passenger seat as well as up by the battery bank. So you can do a lot with those buttons. I haven't used them yet, but I'm sure they're going to come in handy. I went with the remote proximity keyless entry. My other vehicles have that. It's really nice, not having to dig keys out of your pocket. I didn't go with any of that. I did go with the Alpine. Yeah, I kind of splurged on that one, but I think it's money well spent. And then hardtop. I went with the black hardtop. And then lastly, you pick your color green. The Sahara comes with the running boards already on there. Now, I will say I'm already having a small regret of going with the 7-inch screen. I almost feel like the designers intentionally made this look bad with the bezel design to make it look like that you should have gone with a bigger screen, and they were right. It's not that it's non-functional. It works just fine. It just seems a little small. My Ram's got the 8.4-inch screen. Our Grand Cherokee has the 8.4-inch screen. It's just easier to read. It's less strain on your eyes. Now, it sounds like you look down here and you go, dang, $1,995 just for the 8.4 and nav. And usually in vehicle nav is pretty terrible. I never even use it. I always have a Garmin that I end up using anyway. But that actually includes 1,200 of that is already Alpine that I've already added. So if you notice, it didn't go up $2,000 by adding that. So it only went up like $600 or so. So I that's already my regret. I should have just gone with that. I don't really know what I don't like about it yet because everything, it's just the whole, they talk about the Jeep lifestyle or whatever. I don't mind that honestly, the Kia that I had before this had a lot of road noise. It wasn't a quiet luxury vehicle. It was a Kia. It was a fairly cheap car. Um, this one has, probably about the same road noise as that car did. I actually am impressed. It's less than I thought it was going to be. The stereo, it's got the Alpine stereo in it. That sounds great. On this road trip I went on, I remember driving and I had the music on and I was like, this is really nice. This is really nice. And then I turned the music down and then I could hear all the wind noise. So the fact that the stereo's powerful enough to drown completely out the wind noise is saying that it's a pretty good stereo. So I haven't really been able to take the Jeep on a bunch of cool trips yet, besides just a road trip up to Kansas for work. But I can't wait to take it out camping. I can't wait to take it out on dirt bike trips, all that stuff that I really enjoy doing with this thing. I can't wait, and I'm really looking forward to that. If you want to see, I'll try to make videos on it whenever I do that. I'll try to make videos on mods and work and stuff that I do to it. If you're interested in any of that stuff. Make sure you subscribe, give this video a thumbs up, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.